You can't outrun the weakness that you keep negotiating with. So understand this. If you're still arguing with your lower self, then it means that you haven't fired it yet. And here's something that I want to address right at the beginning. Because most men don't fail from lack of strength, but they fail from negotiating too much. Every man, every person has two versions of themselves. The lower self, when we talk about the lower self, emotional, impulsive, undisciplined, lazy, short-sighted. And then we have the higher self. The higher self, disciplined, strategic, mission first. So most people think that they're losing battles because the higher self isn't strong enough. But that's wrong. You're losing because you keep entertaining arguments from the lower self. So weakness doesn't overtake you, but you invited it in. And you hear it out. And you consider what it has to say. And every time we delay, we justify, we rationalize, we're stepping into a meeting with the version of you that wants you to stay average. And negotiation is really the greatest enemy of potential. So, weakness will sound like reason. The lower self doesn't show up loud. It shows up sounding logical. Just do it tomorrow. You've been doing good. Take a break. You had a long week. And it'll even let you know that it's only between us. Nobody will know. It's not that deep. Most people don't fail because they're weak. But they fail because they trust their own weakness and it speaks to them in a way that they trust ultimately. The lower self is very quietly convincing. It's not loud. It's actually very patient. And it doesn't demand, it negotiates. And the moment that you actually start debating with it, then you've already lost the battle. Because the stronger side in any negotiation doesn't always reply. They definitely don't explain and they definitely don't argue. They just execute. So let's talk about this, because there are 3 states that a person can live in. The first state is destroyed. The second state is disciplined. And the third state is negotiating, what we've been talking about. The most dangerous is number 3, which is negotiating. Because at least when you're destroyed, you know that you need rebuilding. It's clear, it's visible. And when you're disciplined, then your identity will actually protect you and your habits. But when you're negotiating, you're in the illusion of progress with the habits of mediocrity. Every day becomes 40% effort, 60% excuses, and hardly any change. And even if there is change, if you exacerbate it out, imagine how much further you could be if you are operating at maximum capacity. So ultimately, you look productive, but you're still stagnant. And you feel busy, but you're stuck. Regardless if you act motivated, most of our actions, 60% at least, still contradict your intent. So negotiation will create a fake future where you almost become the person that you wanted to be. And almost is the graveyard of potential. So it's going to be very hard to outrun a weakness that you're still protecting. You're not going to overcome temptation that you still keep within the house. You're not going to fix patterns that you still justify. You're not going to grow past your habits that you still defend. You don't become stronger while keeping weakness on the payroll. Most people don't have a discipline problem. They have a tolerance problem. They tolerate small comfort, small laziness, small lies they tell themselves, small delays, small indulgences. But that weakness is going to grow like a mold, quietly, invisibly, and consistently, until one day you have an infestation and now it's dominant and you just have to live with it. So I say that to say that weakness survives because you give it space. Weakness grows because you let it, you negotiate. So we have to purge it. The lower self is not your enemy. It's your employee, and you have to terminate it. You were never necessarily meant to kill your lower self. It has a purpose. It's the part of you that feels fear, maybe caution, fatigue. So it's a small part of you that kind of keeps you alive, but it was never meant to be the decision maker in your life. It was meant to be heard, but not obeyed. Acknowledged, but not followed. Your lower self is, think of your lower self like an employee who keeps overstepping its job description. It's not, you have to fire it from a leadership role because that's not where it's supposed to be. And if you don't, then it will always feel like a tug of war. So we have to make decisions not emotionally, but based on identity. And we have to understand the fact that if our discipline depends on how we feel, then we're going to lose every time. Your feelings are designed for survival, but your identity is designed for greatness, for legacy. There's a difference between a person who says, I want to work out, and a person who says, I'm just a man who trains. One is going to negotiate and one of them is going to execute by default. Identity eliminates negotiation. Your standards, if your standards is being a person that keeps up with themselves, then you're not going to negotiate brushing your teeth, taking a shower, putting on clothes, right? It's because it's a part of who you are. So we have to somehow find a way to transition our goals into becoming our identity, not tasks. Because when we do that, then the lower self has nothing left to argue with. So I want to bring this home because I want us to also understand that pain is not the problem either. The problem is that you're trying to bargain with it. Pain is not optional. Only the timing of it is optional. Let me explain. You can either choose the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. You can choose the pain of consistency or you can choose the pain of consequences. Pain doesn't disappear. It's just waiting on your decision. So what weak people, in my opinion, Let's just talk about men. Weak men will try to reduce pain through negotiation. But strong men will reduce pain through completion. So the moment you stop negotiating, everything will start to speed up. The minute you stop trying to feel like it, your life will stop being emotional and it can start becoming mathematical. Discipline just becomes input, output, repeat. You stop asking, do I feel motivated? And you start asking, is this aligned with who I said I am? And the higher self doesn't need hype. It just simply needs clarity. That's it. It doesn't need emotion. It just needs structure. It needs consistency, not motivation. So when we fire the lower self, life can start becoming more linear. Action, identity, results, momentum. And then we don't have to wrestle in our own mind anymore. We don't have to do any more internal bargaining. And we don't have to exhaust ourselves mentally anymore. We can just direct. So, weakness is not going to be able to follow a man who moves without permission. Weakness is going to thrive in what? Hesitation, the pause, the delay, the should I, the maybe tomorrow. But weakness is going to die in motion. So if you can move instantly, then you'll be superb. And if you can move without asking, if you can move without asking, then that's powerful. Because when you don't need to debate with yourself anymore, you can start truly becoming what you were made to be. You're not going to be able to outrun weakness. You're going to have to outgrow it by refusing to negotiate with it. So, if you keep negotiating, you're going to stay average. But the man who stops negotiating can become elite. We'll leave it there. I think I've hammered home the point. I need you all to like the video, subscribe if you want to join the Limitless Legion. Cash App link below if you want to tip the channel. And also hype the video. And yeah, feel free to join the Patreon if you want to see more self-improvement content. But let this be the day that you stop arguing with your lower self, because that's going to be the day that it's going to lose the jurisdiction over your life. We'll leave it there. See you guys in the next one.